remembering a matriarch.
I feel so lucky to have been able to know these animals, to watch their lives.
Wildlife watchers say farewell to one of the park's biggest celebrities, why Wolf 907 was so remarkable. And from one amazing animal to another.
So I'd only get a glimpse of him a couple times a year. He was pretty elusive.
We'll introduce you to Snail Horn, a bighorn sheep still remembered long after his death. And we take you out to eat at a Red Lodge restaurant setting itself apart.
You can tell right away which is coming from the, feedlots and what's coming from the ranch down the road.
A unique farm-to-table story told by the chef who lives it. Good afternoon, and thanks for ending your week with us. I'm Keagan Harsha. Yellowstone National Park's most famous wolf has died, garnering reaction all around the world. Wolf 907, as she was known to most, died on Christmas Day after being attacked by the Rescue Creek Pack. The 11-year-old was well known in the wildlife community for a variety of reasons. First and foremost, she gave birth to her 10th litter of pups this summer, which researchers say is likely a record. Most wolves have an average lifespan of just 3 to 4 years, and Wolf 907 was also known for her appearance, having just one eye. It's unclear how she lost her other one. Photographers from around the world have traveled to Yellowstone for years, though, just hoping to snap pictures of 907. Gardner photographer Debbie Dixon is among the many to encounter the animal on multiple occasions, fully aware of just how unique she was.
We don't get as much wolf information anymore, and so don't know the packs as well as we once did. And 907 is kind of the end of the era on that. Which I think is unfortunate, because I think that knowing the wolves really draws people in.
It's estimated only about 1 in 250 wolves in Yellowstone make it to their 11th birthday, with just 6 recorded examples of it happening since wolves were reintroduced to Yellowstone back in 1995. The oldest known wolf in Yellowstone, if you're wondering, died at the age of 12 and a half. Well, not only did Yellowstone lose its best-known wolf in 2024, the park also lost its most famous and oldest grizzly bear. And the two animals were famous for many of the same characteristics. Grizzly bear 399 died back in October after being struck by a car near Jackson Hole. At 28 years old, the bear was beloved by many because of her age and her prolific reproduction. That bear produced at least 18 offspring, including a set of quadruplets, during her remarkably long life. In 2023, she became the oldest known grizzly in Yellowstone to give birth to a cub. Hundreds of tourists also traveled to Yellowstone hoping to catch a glimpse of her, the now infamous bear. And the greater Yellowstone region is, of course, home to all kinds of memorable wildlife. Tonight, our Chet Lehman introduces us to yet another animal that was well known near and far, an 11-year-old bighorn sheep ram known as Snail Horn, who also had a following that extended far beyond Montana.
Growing up is hard, whether you're a human being or a bighorn sheep. Sometimes life throws you a challenge, and you're going to have to adapt if you're going to survive.
It's a pretty fascinating critter here. We've called him Snail Horn. He injured his growth plate when he was a young ram, maybe 1 or 2 years old, sparring with an older ram during the rut. And that injury caused this unique kind of growth throughout his life.
Snail Horn lived near Quake Lake, and FWP and many wildlife photographers knew him.
We actually captured this ram in December 2016 as a part of a statewide research project looking at disease ecology in bighorn sheep. So we had him ear tagged, never radio collared, but we had him ear tagged.
The horn growth also affected his eyesight, though not as much as you might think.
I'd watch him sometimes. I'd only get a glimpse of him a couple times a year. He was pretty elusive. He'd come down for a rut, and I could watch him just being a bighorn sheep, despite his injury, which led to the loss of this eye. The eye was still present, but he couldn't really see out of this side.
Bighorn sheep rams need those horns. Snail Horn's early injury was an obstacle. An injury to the other would be his last.
March 4th, 2023, he died roadside in front of Kelly Gallup's slide-in, who gave us a call, and we came down and possessed his carcass. You can see where he'd had an injury, probably a road-related injury, and it had healed, and he was still functional, except that there was probably systemic infection. So you can see from this, this didn't exist the year before, this flat spot on his horn, under which you can actually actually see a bone infection. He also had a broken leg from that injury. There's a D.H. Lawrence poem that says, "I never saw a wild thing sorry for itself." And, he just lived a normal bighorn sheep life as much as he could with a really different and unusual horn development.
If you'd like to see Snail Horn, he now lives at Region 3 headquarters. In Bozeman, Chet Lehman, MTN News.
We may not have seen a white Christmas, but Old Man Winter is finally returning to Yellowstone Park and surrounding communities. Take a look at this. This was Cook City this afternoon, where more than 7 inches of snow has piled up over the last 24 hours. So much snow that an avalanche watch was issued for several mountains surrounding Yellowstone, including areas near West Yellowstone and Island Park. The question you might be wondering, when will we see snow? Turns out you might wake up to a winter wonderland before the year comes to a close. For more on that, here's meteorologist Jason Stiff tracking a system headed our way.
Yeah, our snowy weather has definitely been lacking as we went from late fall into early winter. Now as we get closer to going from 2024 to 2025, at least some more December and January winter-like weather is moving our way. We already have winter storm watches out for the mountains of central and south central Montana, northwestern Wyoming as well. But that's not until Sunday and Monday when the next storm moves our way. A lot of clouds in western Montana, but limited amounts of snow. A little bit around Missoula right now, but it's nothing very heavy. I'm going to keep my eyes on some other things that'll be changing. We're going to have more clouds overnight tonight, so really not that cold considering it's December. We're going to have more clouds in the morning, more sunshine in the afternoon on Saturday, but better chances for rain and snow are coming. Our forecast coming up.
Yesterday, we brought you the first in a two-part series taking a closer look at Montana's Medicaid expansion before the legislature's upcoming session when they'll debate whether to renew the program. Well, today, MTN senior political reporter Jonathan Ambarian speaks with some of the lawmakers who will make the decisions about what happens next.
The Montana legislature approved expanding Medicaid in 2015. Then in 2019, they agreed to extend the program through 2025. But both times, the issue split majority Republicans. Now, with Republicans continuing to control the legislature and also holding the governor's office, leaders will have to decide whether the expansion will continue and whether to make changes to the program.
We've created a program that's working extremely well, and it's been a huge benefit for Montanans, and especially in the mental health and addiction areas, and to lose that would be catastrophic for the state.
Republican Representative Ed Buttry of Great Falls sponsored Medicaid expansion in 2015 and 2019, and he says he's planning to bring a bill this session to simply remove the sunset date. Buttry says the goal was that expansion would both get Montanans healthier and keep more of them in the workforce, and he believes it's been a success.
We heard a lot of things. We heard it would bankrupt the state. We heard that once folks get on the program, they'll never get off. And that, like I said, we now have 10 years worth of data that shows the exact opposite to be true. It's been a net positive for our state budget and the taxpayers. People are going off of the program once they get the help they need.
After reaching as high as 125,000 in 2023, the number of adults on Medicaid expansion in Montana was down to just over 77,000 in September 2024. That decline started after the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services resumed eligibility redeterminations after the end of the COVID-19 public health emergency. Once again, Republicans are split on extending Medicaid expansion. Matt Regier, the incoming Senate president, voted against expansion in 2019 while in the House, and still opposes it today. He calls it a welfare program, argues it's helped hospitals more than individuals, and says there should be a closer look at options like requiring recipients to work.
It is taking taxpayer money and giving it to somebody else in the population. I'm all for, too, of a safety net. It's the question that we're going to have to answer is, when does a safety net become just a lifestyle and not a safety net anymore?
Governor Greg Gianforte told reporters last month that he was including Medicaid expansion in his budget proposal for 2025, but he wants to see added work requirements. The state already approved requirements for work or other community engagement in 2019, but hasn't received a federal waiver to implement them. Buttry says he hopes Montana will have another shot at getting that approval once the Trump administration takes over. Democrats joined with some Republicans to pass Medicaid expansion initially, and they say it's again a priority for them to get it extended. They say they're open to discussions about new ideas, but believe what Montana already has compares well against other states.
I think that we've got a lot of data that shows Montana's Medicaid program is working and a lot of data that shows some of these other programs are not.
The legislature will get underway here at the state capitol on January 6th, 1 week from Monday. That will be just under 6 months before the current sunset date for Medicaid expansion, June 30th. In Helena, Jonathan Amberian, MTN News.